Hello, Keith Livingston from keithlivingston.com, where I showcase my original music. We're talking about the basics of home recording, and this particular video is about audio interfaces. Now, an audio interface is the bridge between the music you make and your computer. So if you make a sound in a room and slap a microphone in front of it, you plug that microphone into an audio interface, and it transforms it into the kind of sound that your computer can deal with. Same thing with a keyboard or other electronic instrument. You plug the output of it into an audio interface and it gets transformed into digital. Now, so what do you look for in an audio interface? I mean, most computers have a little mic input there or a line input that you can plug into, but it's just not good enough. So the first thing we want is quality. And the quality is important in two particular ways. One is the preamp. A microphone emits a very weak signal and it needs to be amplified, so you need a good quality preamp. And then the quality of the analog to digital converters. Now, you can go down the rabbit hole with these things in technical specifications, but what you're really looking for is something that sounds good. So if it sounds good, it's good, right? So beyond that, some things that are important are the number of the inputs. You're limited by the number of inputs as to the number of things that you can record live. So in other words, if you've only got two inputs on your audio interface, you can only record two things live, two live microphones. So make sure you take that into account when you're buying it. Another thing that's important is if you're using condenser microphones, you need phantom power, so make sure you've got an audio interface with phantom power. Another thing that's important to me, if you look right here actually, here's a picture of the audio interface I'm using right now. It's a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. It's got two inputs, and these jacks work both for mic cables or XLR cables or quarter-inch cables, something like a guitar or keyboard. So that's cool. It's got phantom power here. A really super important feature for me is what's called direct monitoring. Now, when you record in your computer, it takes a while to transform the sounds to digital. You take them into your computer, the software does stuff to them, and then feeds them back out. There can be a delay in that process, and that will cause the sound that you hear to come later than the sound that you're playing by a few milliseconds or a few dozen milliseconds. That can interfere with your playing. So this direct monitoring switch right here allows you to hear the sound as it's going in. So you can hear the playback from your recording and hear the sound live that you're playing into the computer as well, and that's been a really important function to me. If I had to do it over again, I would take the model up, which has 4 inputs and also has MIDI. I do a lot of work with MIDI, and since I don't have a MIDI interface, I have to write the parts out inside the computer, whereas it would be much faster to play the parts instead. So that's what's important about an audio interface: the number of inputs, the quality of the unit itself, direct monitoring, headphone output, most of them have, is good as well. I'm using, again, the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. I recommend the Focusrite products. Even in the mid-low price range, they sound pretty darn good. Okay, if you'd like to hear the Scarlett 2i2 in action, I do recording with that. You can hear some of the samples of that at keithlivingston.com. There's a link right below the video. See you there.